Hey, my name is Sean. Welcome to Echoes in Eternity Bourbon. Have you ever thought you just might have a problem?
What did you do?
Nothing. I stirred the tanks.
Whoa. Hey.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
So, you know, traditionally at the end of the month, I do like this bottle haul video. And I always think I'm never going to have bottles that will be like, oh, that's cool. I may have 4 or 5 cool bottles. And then you realize I might have a problem because it just keeps growing and growing and growing. But, a lot of that is amazing connections with stores, amazing connections with people. I talk about that tribe type of thing all the time. That you get to meet such amazing people, and part of that yesterday was I got to talk with a gentleman by name. I got to hang out with Chris. He's a member of my bourbon club. Well, I wouldn't say my bourbon club. Is actually he invited me to that club through another person. So I'm in a bourbon club. I'm not the founding member or anything like that. But I was invited into a bourbon club, which I appreciate. I thought it was awesome. But Chris, I've got to hang out with him a couple of times. He's retired military, served our country, outstanding guy. We went to the Class 6 yesterday. Got to hunt there. I got to hang out with the gentleman by the name of Tim out there. He's the manager out there, does an amazing job of bringing in fantastic bourbons to that Class 6. So Fort Moore is being taken care of very well. And Tim's just one of those really nice, easygoing guys, just super nice to get along with. You tell he has a great rapport with a lot of the people that come in and out of there. He's talking to a lot of people. His team is very kind. So, I mean, I like that. We've got some great stores in this area, but that's like one of the more underrated stores. If you're military and you have that opportunity at Class 6 to go hunt that, they have some fantastic bourbons there. Tim does a great job of getting great things in there. And Chris, I can't thank you enough for showing me that kind of hidden gem. I usually get to do things on Fort Stewart when I go to visit my daughter. My son-in-law is, stationed out there. But Chris was like, hey, if you're interested, let's check this out. And he's put me onto some amazing things out there through some of the amazing things that Tim and his team have done out there. So, like I said, this is kind of like the preamble. you know, I had such a great day yesterday. I got to hang out with Chris in the morning, picked up some great bottles. And I had a great week of picking up some different bottles. And so we got to pick out some great bottles, got to hang out with him and Tim, had the fortune of going back to Chris's house and just, opening one of the bottles while we were there. And, I got him a couple pours, and he in turn gets me some amazing pours, two of the best freaking ryes. It was fantastic. And then, traded out some samples and stuff. And we just sat down and we talked about life, and that's so freaking cool to me is that, and we had talked about, bourbon is just kind of that facilitator that lets you get into just talking about things, talking about deep subjects and talking about life and where it's taken you and what you want. And it brought us both back to the end of the day is, the most important thing that we have is family, is that no matter what the work has or no matter what this has, the most important function or thing that you're going to have in life is your family. And not all of us came from, the rosy families, mom and dad and, grandparents around and great networks and stuff like that. But you still have that opportunity to create that unit and have that family. And I just absolutely appreciated hanging out with Chris yesterday. And like I said, Tim out there, Fort Moore. If you haven't had that opportunity, you need to go check it out. Great job out there. And I'll show you some of the bottles I got out from there, along with some other bottles I got this week. And then after that, we had a friend's birthday party at a place downtown. I think it's Bites and Brews or Brews. I think it's Bites and Brews and Brews and Bites. But they got like old school like 80s type of video games, pinball machines, the skeet ball stuff, and they have some different beverages and foods and stuff there. Had a really nice time. Got to hang out with another member from the Bourbon Club out there, and her and I were able to trade out some samples, and I dug into one of hers pretty good last night. Appreciate that very much. And since I didn't ask if I could use her name, I'm not going to put it in the video. I just not that. I didn't really truly ask Chris. I just kind of threw it out there, but her name might stand out a little bit. So I just wanted to make sure before I put a name out there that yeah, we're good with that. So had a great time. It's funny because you're sitting there and you can tell when someone's kind of into the same thing that you're in. She's definitely big into bourbons. Has some amazing taste in things. Like I said, got me some great pours. I mean, Chris as well. I mean, fantastic. And blow me away with a lot of the knowledge. Chris teaches me stuff every time I'm around him. Like I said, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room because I want to be around people that can teach me as well. Just because I do a channel doesn't mean I know everything. I love to learn stuff. So yesterday we're sitting there and I get her samples. I send her the pictures of the stuff that I've got her, and we're talking about stuff. And I'm like, hey, what are you into? And you can tell kind of some people's eyes just glaze over, like, oh, it's the bourbon talk again. But it's fun, it's fun because you can see when someone's really engaged. So had a great time last night as well. Very, very thankful for that. Outstanding. So and then I got some samples in, from Mark Gale, from Michael Trott. Thank you very, very much. Looking forward to doing stuff for that. As you know, I'll be doing in March, if you don't know, in March, I'm going to do either a long format or a short format every day from about a sample that I've been able to get from someone, which I am truly appreciative of. And I know I'm behind on that. So thank you for that. I mean, we're closing in on 2000 fast. I think we're at like 1911 at the time of shooting this video. At 2000, if you're a member of the channel, over 21 continental US, like and comment on that specific video. There's 7 bottles that are going out. A Stag Junior, a store pick 4 roses that were donated, Elijah Craig C923 that was donated, the American Oak 2XO that was donated, an Eagle Rare that was donated. I've got a 1 liter Buffalo Trace, and then I've also got a Knob Creek Longhorn, which is exclusively made for Longhorn. It's a 100 proofer. And then it'll be a sample pack. So a lot of cool stuff there. At least 8 things going out at 2,000 members. Very excited about that. So let me get into some cool stuff. Like I said, I like to learn things. Freddy's root beer right here. Learned a lesson about that yesterday with Chris. Thank you so much. And it's funny because we'll sit down and be like, about something? I have no clue about that. So he'll teach me things. If you haven't heard about this, there's a documentary. It's called Neat. It kind of talks about bourbon. Check it out. I started watching on some of it yesterday. Chris kind of walked me through some of it as well. But there's a neat story behind the root beer, and I won't, I'll let you watch it so you can kind of see. But we talked about, the moments how bourbon kind of bonds people sometimes, and they make those memories. And you're not here forever. You don't know when that time's going to end. Time is the most valuable currency you're ever going to have because you don't know how much you have. You can't ever make any more of it. And you want to make sure you spend it wisely. Spend it, doing the things that are going to make memories. You talk about, my channel name, Echoes in Eternity. It comes from the movie Gladiator. It talks about basically there's that line in the movie where basically the memories you leave behind are going to be kind of your legacy. What kind of legacy do you want to have out there? So I know I got preachy today to start, but that's all right. Sunday morning, I've had a very nice weekend so far. Had some amazing times with people. So absolutely looking forward also to sharing what I picked up and why I may have a problem. So yesterday, I mentioned we were at Class 6, hanging out with Tim. They got a new bottle in. This is a Starlight Double Oaked Rye. And this one right here was selected by their master distiller. It comes in at 106 proof. Chris and I cracked this yesterday. It's a good pour. I'm waiting to see what it opens up, if it changes a little bit more. It's a good pour. I also got another one to the other member of our bourbon club. I say our bourbon club, but the bourbon club I was invited into. And I'm interested to see some more thoughts on that. I'll do a breakdown of this sometime in the future. So looking forward to that. But this was one of the bottles that we got yesterday. Cracked it with Chris, shared it with another member. Bourbon, bourbon's, it's meant to be shared. It's meant to be, you're meant to drink it. You're meant to be sharing it. Meant to make memories with it. So, like I said, had a great conversation. Had a couple extra pours. Fantastic time yesterday. This one here from Maple Party, and you're like, well, okay, well, what's so special about that smoke wagon right there? Well, it's a smoke wagon, uncut, unfiltered, that they ran into a point that they normally have a real dark glass for this. They couldn't get those bottles. COVID times, there was a lot of stuff going on where people couldn't get stuff. Sourcing certain things had a lot of problems, and this hit, the bourbon industry as well. So they did these in this clear glass, and so Matt at Maple Party had found some in the back, and he's like, I'm going to put them out, same price, MSRP, and for people to get. And I'm like, I'm not only a tater, but I'm a collector in a lot of ways. This bourbon is adult baseball cards. So I was like, that is cool. And this will be something that I'll have on my shelf. Some people will recognize what it is, and some people won't recognize what it is. I shared it with Chris, and Chris was like, yeah, the story behind that. I'm like, actually, I do on that one. He teaches me like so many other things, but I'm like, yeah, I knew the story on that one. So that was cool. But it was neat that he knew it, as well. Because it is, if you get more ingrained in things, you realize there's a lot of neat stories about stuff out there for bourbon and stuff. So that was really, really cool as well. Sometimes you just run into some people that they're like, hey, tired of a bottle here? Are you interested in it? And I know it's, about a third of it left, but this is the bee's knees too. And I love the bee's knees too. And so a friend just said, hey, I know you really like the bee's knees, and I always like to give a lot of stuff out as samples. He says, are you interested in this? I'm like, absolutely I am. So I'm sure I will have a couple pours. This is the double-barreled toasted bee's knees too. But I'm sure there'll be some samples going out with this as well. I know 143 Bourbon's going to be getting a sample of this, amongst some other things that we'd already talked about when the Knob Creek pit comes in. So I'm excited about that. So something else to add to 143 Bourbon's package. So I thought that was very cool because sometimes like the Traveler's Bourbon, for me it just wasn't my thing. It wasn't a huge fan of it, but my brother-in-law is a huge Buffalo Trace person. And so I had, more than a half a bottle. And when I happened to see him for my niece's birthday, I'm like, would you like this? And he's like, yeah, that's cool. I'm a Buffalo Trace person. So I think that's really, really cool. So, if you have something, if it's just not your thing, but it's maybe somebody else's thing, get it to them. Let somebody else enjoy that. I don't just want to sit it there and like, yeah, that's not my thing. I'm not going to drink it, when somebody else might really enjoy that pour. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Man, I tell you what, was able to get, and I usually don't do a lot of stuff with Crown and stuff like that, but this has been really popular in our area. And so these Crown Blackberries, I was able to find these at the Class 6 on post. An amazing price. Amazing price. There's no tax there. Amazing price. They were flying through them yesterday. And I was able to get a couple out there. I'm excited about this because I got one for a friend. And then the other one, my wife and her friends during the Super Bowl literally just, tore up some Blackberry. I had a Blackberry Carl T. Huber's, and they just like went through that whole bottle. And I'm like, well, I know that the Blackberry seems to be a good theme for them, and that's a good proof point for them. So next time we have a get together for that, I think this will be on the menu. Looking forward to that. I showed this. This is part of all this last week. The Maker's Mark cellar aged, was able to pick that cellar aged up through a trade with someone that's a member of the channel. Very, very excited about that. We actually have another trade coming up next Friday. Very excited about that as well. He's getting some things that he really likes. I'm getting some things that I really like. And I'm excited about that. I mean, I love to, you can acquire bourbon a lot of different ways, and just paying for it's not the only way. You can find trades and things like that. So sometimes you might be able to find something that that has some really neat value to somebody else, where you can find something really neat value to you that maybe wasn't as valuable. So was able to get that. Very excited about that. Was able to pick up the Blue Note store picks. I've talked about this one from the bottle shop. It's their 7th anniversary barrel. I've absolutely loved this barrel. And I picked up not only one, but I picked up 2 of these. One for a friend and one for myself. So you can see the front and the back here. I picked up another one because I wanted it, because I really enjoyed this Blue Note store pick. And a friend of mine was like, I'd really like to get one if they have some extras too. I'm like, on it. So picked up a couple of those. I was very excited. Like I said, I may have a problem. Let's set this one, I guess, over here. I'll set it over here for now, because sometimes I just run out of room. Let's see what we got. Like I said, Class 6 yesterday. Was very excited about that. Larceny Barrel Proof A124 and the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A124. I am like I said, I like collections, and that's probably going to be my biggest downfall. So I probably need to build just another house. I'm doing the studio downstairs. Yesterday we had like torrential rains last week. Found out do have some more issues where I need to probably put in another. I've got a French drain in there. I've done all kinds of stuff to seal the concrete. Found some more water yesterday, and I'm like, man, that sucks. So some more work down there. But as the man cave down there grows, I may need to find a special cave just for Elijah Craig and Larceny. Absolutely love that I got the first of these this year, so I'll be doing some reviews on those in the future. Looking forward to that. Fantastic about that, man. And I hate to say, like, golly, I did spend way too much this last week. ASW. I am a huge fan of ASW, and I've had a few people tell me, Terrence and Chris, that these are both very, very good. Terrence keeps asking me, when are you going to get these? So this is the ASWs. This is their toasted bourbon and rye. So I picked those up. I'm like, I know I don't have time to drink them right now, but I'm going to get them because apparently I just like to collect bourbon. So I'm very excited about trying those. Man, I've just got like a funnel here. I mean, just a funnel. And I'm like, I just need to sit. I just need to take some time off of work. Maybe take just a sabbatical from work and just probably drink. Just to sample, not to get insane or something, but just sample something a couple of times a day to get caught up. But I'm taking, a friend of mine, Dave Vogel, saying maybe I'm taking his approach on this. I'm going to collect until I retire, and then I'll just say, what interesting pour do I have that I haven't cracked? So, Dave, you've been killing it lately, by the way. Last bottle, like I said, this is all within a week's time. So it was kind of a crazy week, and I don't expect weeks like this all the time. Like I said, a lot of things just kind of came into place for this. Last bottle is Old Forester 1924. Now, I know that there's been a lot of stuff out. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried it. And people have suggested you do blinds, do the 1910, 1920, 1924, and I may do that too. But I haven't tried it yet, and I've been looking forward to it. It was one of the bottles that was in my top 10 that I'm hunting this year. And with you guys' help, I've been very, very fortunate in getting a lot of those already that have come out. So I'm very, very appreciative of that. Thank you all very, very much. You guys help send me in different directions to help get things. This was one of those nice pickups. I was actually able to meet a member of the channel in town. He had when we had a bottle drop at the bottle shop for a four roses single barrel, I was able to get 2. And he had reached out and he said, would there be any way you can pick me up a bottle? I'm like, absolutely. And so, I picked him up a bottle, and this was a few months back. And he was like, when you get into town, he'd been under the weather for a bit, been doing a lot of business of his own. Finally was able to make it into town, was able to hang out with him for a little bit at the bottle shop, brought him the bottle that he had asked for a couple months back. And, while we were there, we were doing some other hunting, and he got onto some other amazing stuff there. So I love that. Absolutely love that, people get some amazing things. And I don't want to just be the only one that has stuff. I want everybody to have cool stuff and neat stuff and good stuff. And we talked back and forth. I had some samples for him. He's got some samples for me, which I'll be doing probably in March. And we'll be doing in March, at least one or two of his samples in March. But then we went over some of the stuff I gave him and stuff. And it was just really neat because he got some excellent, excellent bottles. So I know that was a lot. My poor son is going to be wore out by the time I have him carrying stuff down to where the man cave is and stuff like that. Get some exercise, give him something to do. But man, absolutely had a great week. Like I said, it's not every week is going to be like that, but I had a lot of fun. I had some eclectic things that I was able to pick up. Things I wanted to collect, things I wanted for the channel, things that I wanted for myself, things that I picked up for other people, which is super cool. Absolutely love that. But man, Sunday, if you happen to be working today, and there's a lot of you that do work today, I hope your work day goes by fast. I hope you're successful in the things that you do and you bring great energy to everything that you do. If you got some off time today, I hope it just dials it down a little bit. I hope you have a great time just spending the time making those echoes for other people, building that legacy of memories that people are going to remember. Because when we're gone, what people are going to remember a lot of times are the moments that you spent with them. So dial it down and make some great moments today. And most importantly, all, cheers and God bless. You all have an amazing day. Thank you.